So I'm going to go to one person, but that one person, if they're videotaping themselves as they watch it being announced and they see that, I think we'd like to see that reaction. If you'd like to follow the process of turning a block of wood like this into a guitar like this, then you've come to the right place. And if you would like to see me give this guitar away, click subscribe, hit the bell. Well, it's true, guys. I went back to my very original plan, which was to go with black on the back. Oh, decisions. Well, hey, good morning, my friends. Welcome back to Let's Build a Guitar. On today's episode, sometime during this episode, I don't know when, middle, 3/4 way through, not sure, I'm going to announce who this guitar is going to go to. I am at the point now where I believe, as long as I don't burn through, I believe I'm ready to polish this top. Now, if you didn't already see, I did change, I talked about this last week, I changed from having a burst on the top to just going with yellow on there, and then the back does still have a burst to it. But I've got that, and we'll announce today who it's going to. So stay tuned for that. Alright, I ended last week's video talking about these inlays or decal. Which should I do? And tossed with it. Well, I spoke with Mr. X, who's going to be getting these guitars. And what I was frustrated with was the fact that it's got such a nice three-dimensional look to it. And to do that with an inlay would be so many hours consumed to try and do that. Well, what I didn't know is Mr. X already has guitars with the inlay like this, and it is just the two-dimensional. So if you can see this, it's just a two-dimensional look on this guitar neck. He wants that. That's what he wants. So, well, that makes that answer really easy then, doesn't it? Because I don't have to worry about it. He made the call. It's okay with two-dimensional. It's just, you know, the three-dimensional look on these, so nice. If you had that with an inlay, it'd be really beautiful. But that's okay. He wants just the two-dimensional in that shape, so that's what we're going to do. That means I need to order some more pearl inlay, and I think what I'm going to do, instead of cutting it into different pieces like that, I'm going to just use this one size. That means I got to find pearl inlay big enough, which means I got to order something, and that's going to take just a little while. But in the meantime then, what that does mean is I'm going to start working on putting these guitars together, set them up with strings with the bridge, and make sure that they play excellent and that I've got them where they need to be before I continue my assembly process. I just find I can get a better quality playing guitar if I set it up and actually tweak it with each guitar, with each piece of wood, as opposed to just going by my typical settings, which I've got my typical settings, and most of the time I can put them together and they're going to play fine. But little things happen. I want to make sure I put it together, make sure it's good, and that's one of the ways that I get such a low action on them and get them so that they can play so well. Although, I've got to admit something. A few weeks ago, I dropped off that guitar for Woody. It plays well, and the action is really good on it. However, he has a Parker there. I'm not talking about the newer Parkers. I'm talking about the old Parkers. So this one is from the 90s. The Parkers used carbon fiber, and a carbon fiber neck with the string height on them is incredible. I played his Parker and it was phenomenal. Mr. X has a Parker as well. I don't know that I could ever get a wood neck to play like that Parker Fly. And the reason is that wood, it adjusts, it bends. You know, this Parker Fly, 30 years old, never having to be adjusted because of the carbon fiber neck. And they sound pretty amazing. Now, the thing about the Parker Fly that you'd have to get used to is they are so light and they are so thin. That would take a little getting used to for me. But guys, I gotta admit, I would not mind having one of those original Parker flies. My goodness. And the way it sounded, it sounded pretty amazing too. So, yeah, incredible stuff. So anyway, I will move on, but saying all of that, I can get these necks so that they are pretty stinking good. The action can be really great. Just maybe not quite Parker fly great. As I bring the body and neck together, one of the things that I do with these in order to make this heel extremely smooth and transitional is I will mark exactly where my heel is, and I'm going to taper this all up into here. So I'll be sanding off some of this right in here. The first thing you want to make sure that you know is the length of your neck. Do you have a 25.5-inch neck, or do you have a 24.75-inch neck? Now I want to show you something really quick. If I just measure this fretboard, well, this says 18.75. Well, that doesn't sound like 25 or 24.75. Well, the reason is because we're measuring from the nut, the face of the nut, where the string would be starting to vibrate. On this side of the nut, you're measuring from the nut down to the bridge saddles. So I measure down to the bridge saddles. But wait a minute, I can't do that because I don't know where my bridge is going until I know the lengths, right? You're going to measure from the nut to the 12th fret. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Sounds just like Sesame Street. I'm going to measure the 12th fret. And to the 12th fret, I am at 12.75 inches, which tells me that this is a 25.5-inch neck. Take it to the 12th fret, see what's at, double it. 12.75 times 2 is going to be 25.5. If the neck were a 24.75-inch neck, which would be a Gibson scale neck, this would be 12.3/8. Knowing that my neck is a 25.5-inch neck, if I come from the nut down to this part of the body, and I mark 25.5 inches down here, if I can get this. You know, I usually have this like a sewing tape measure that I use for doing this. I don't know what I did with it. 25.5. Give myself a little bit more of a line. And don't ever push too hard with your pencil because you don't want to indent your wood there. When I know where that line is, that's where my saddles are going to be. Now my saddles can move forward or backwards, and this is going to be pretty much up towards the front. You could actually set it so that these saddles would be right on that line at the furthest most front. I usually fudge just the littlest bit so I get just a little bit of room to move it that way if I needed to. I got that done on both of these, knowing that this is my 25.5-inch line. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is, especially because I don't have a center line on these guitar faces because these are one solid piece of wood, they are not two pieces of wood being brought together, which would give me a definite line down the middle. So what I will do is I bring this right up alongside the neck. I can see where the neck is coming here, and it will be at an angle. And now that I've got those in place, that kind of shows me where my neck is at, right? Because I'm just extending the neck. Now that that's done on both of them, I can find center on here as well. Then by measuring the lines here and putting another dot in there, I've got my center line. Well, would you be interested in finding out who's going to get this guitar? I'm going to tell you in just a little bit. Let me tell you how this all kind of came about. I'll try and be quick, okay? So when Prince passed away, I had already been building guitars. And I said to my wife, you know, I think I would like to build myself a Prince Cloud style guitar. And I know it's going to be expensive just for the parts. I figured I'm going to build 3. I'm going to build 2 to sell, and I'm going to build 1 for me using the money from what I make off of those other 2. And so I built the 2, and they both sold like right away, just immediately. And one of those went to Jelly Bean Johnson, who played with Morris Day and the Time, played with Prince. was in the movie Purple Rain. Before I got my third one done for me, somebody else wanted it, and I sold that one. In all of that, I started to design my own semi-hollow bodies because I was thinking, what would it be like if I took like a thin line Telecaster and married that to a cloud style guitar. Two of them went to a guy who is also a friend of Prince's. I've been calling him Mr. X. That's who these two guitars are going to. He already owns two of my guitars, and they're out in Hollywood being used for music in Universal Studios stuff, which is pretty cool. Anyway, he did a lot of testing with those, and he really knows what he's doing and stuff, and he really liked how the frequencies came out. So he really encouraged me with continuing to build these semi-hollows. So I've been doing the semi-hollow body. Now the giveaway part, there was a young man, this was years ago already, he loved the cloud guitars. He had to have a kidney removed and everything. He wanted a cloud guitar, and I wanted so badly to be able to just give him one. I don't make enough to be just typically giving away guitars and stuff. I worked out a deal with his parents where his parents basically paid for the materials, and then I built the guitar. That inspired me though, because I just started thinking, what if I could start giving guitars away? This will be guitar number 6, 7, 8. Guitar number 8 that I actually give away. Guitar number 6 giveaway actually on these videos of mine. What I have a heart for is I want to encourage people, especially people who need a little bit of encouragement. And this one is going to be going to a young man. His name is... To help me find my holes where they need to be, I've got lined up so that it's exactly where these holes on here need to be drilled. So I'm going to set this in to figure out where I want to drill those holes, and I want it to be able to make this so that it can come forward or back just a little bit. I'm going to bring this line so that it is essentially right in this front part of where these can slide up to. And then the other thing I want to do is make sure that I am lined up side to side and centered. And my center point is going to be right here. Right in between the 3rd and the 4th is going to be my center line. So I can line up on this line here for center, and then I can just make a couple of dots in here. These anchors only need to go down 3/4 of an inch. I will give it 7/8, which gives me just a little bit for this lip here to kind of sit down in there if I want to get a little bit closer into the body. The easiest place for me to check on my depth is to do it right here inside of my pickup cavity, so that I can see where I'm at depth-wise. The real trick then to using this is to have another bit the exact same size, drop this over that. I'm going to line that hole up with this, and then this bit can just fall right in, and that's going to pilot, but I need to first find out where it needs to be. This is now my pilot hole, and I'll be able to drill deeper in with my larger bit for the actual anchor. This is a hard maple, and a hard wood like that can crack if you try and put too much pressure in there, so you're just going to the next size lower. If this was, say, pine, then I could maybe go 2 steps down and it would still be fine. Wait a minute here. I just had a thought for an interjection. Before you watch any more of this, if you know that you have been nominated, whether you nominated yourself or somebody else nominated, before you watch any more of this video, do me a favor, take your phone, put on the video, and record yourself watching. Now, there's going to be a bunch of people that are going to record themselves kind of disappointed. We don't want to see those. Well, we feel bad for you. Thing is, nobody isn't deserving of this But I've only got one to give away right now, right? So it's only going to go to one person. But that one person, if they're videotaping themselves as they watch it being announced, and they see that, I think we'd like to see that reaction. Wouldn't you want to see that reaction? I want to see that reaction. Let's see that reaction. So get your camera out. Get your camera out on your phone. Start videotaping or have somebody else videotape as you watch the rest. Because one of you is going to get it. And you have no idea. I figured maybe you would like to know who this is going to go to. I am hopefully right now on the last time sanding and then polishing this baby. So I'm just going to try and carefully work that through. Better pay attention to what I'm doing here. But the person that this guitar is going to go to is a young man from Atlanta, Georgia. I know that he watches, so he might even be getting excited right now, wondering, am I talking about him? Am I talking about you, Marcus Morgan? Am I talking about you? Are you the one that's going to get this guitar? But do you think you'd like this? Because here's the deal. Marcus, if you want this, and I know you've talked to me more than once, so if you want this guitar, you need to let me know, let's see, in the next 48 hours. How's that sound? Next 48 hours, if you want this guitar, you need to let me know, okay? Now we got to figure out how we're going to get this to you. Either I need to make a really long trip, because Atlanta, Georgia is a long, long way away, and I don't know that I got the time to do that, or we're going to have to mail it. But the other thing is, pal, I got to finish it yet. As you can see, I am still working on it. Actually, when you see this video, should be at least a little further along than what I will be showing right now today, because, you know, what I post is a couple days behind. All right, guys, fun enough. Thanks, Patreons, for choosing and directing it that direction. Marcus is somebody that I know could use the boost with this. He's a talented young man. Check out some of his videos that he doesn't know that I'm posting here. So he's got some talent, and he has complained for quite some time now that he's only had some cheaper guitars to play and stuff. And, you know, I don't know, maybe he's got some nicer ones now. That boy has got some funk in his fingers. Keep going, Marcus. Keep fighting for joy. I hope this brings you some joy. Just a thrill to know that, hey, you know what? Somebody's looking out for you. Guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. And if all went as planned, this should just slide on. We just have to make sure that we've got it straightened up. Nice and easy.